every other week we focus on the black press. And Dr. Chavis is returning from Cannes. He was at the film festival for the debut of the movie about the life of the great Reginald Lewis. And so he's not with us today, but we still focus on the black press and what they're doing. As you know, Dr. Chaves is the head of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Joining us now is the editor of the one of our other great black papers, the Houston Forward Times, Brother Jeffrey Boney. Brother Jeffrey, how are you, man?
Man, I'm good, man. If I was any better, I'd be you.
Bless your heart, brother. How are things in Houston this morning?
Man, Houston is doing good, man. The weather's good for a change, and we're excited to be on the show this morning.
Well, it's truly a pleasure to have you, my brother. Tell us a little bit about the paper, the Houston Forward Times. Has it been around for a while?
Yeah, man. Actually, we're the oldest and largest African American newspaper in the southern region, celebrating 58 years. Never missed a week of print in the history of the newspaper, man. So we're excited to be able to tell the truth and report the truth and affect change and help our community move forward.
Now you're Jeffrey Boney, correct?
That is correct.
Are you related to Judon Boney?
It depends on what day it is. No, that's my cousin, man. That is my cousin.
I know your
And,
cousin, man.
oh yeah,
I
that's
know
my cousin,
Judon.
man. Yeah, Judon is the man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So again, folks, we need to read and support and understand the black press, especially in this moment where there's a lot of news and misinformation. We know what Russia has done to infiltrate the news and the media and social media. So we need to support the black press. One of the stories that is leading today at the Houston Forward Times website is the ninth annual summit on the plight of black males, Brother Jeffrey.
Yeah,
What's that
yeah.
all
There's
about?
a gentleman by the name of Brother Derek Muhammad is a local community activist, and he is always doing this event called the Black Male Summit. And you always hear people ask the question, what are we doing? What are we doing? We hear all the people complaining about black, Black Lives Matter and police being police assaulting African Americans, and well, where are the people in the community? Where are our leaders? And who's doing something in our community to help our African American youth and African American individuals? And so there are people on the ground that are doing the work. And Derek Muhammad is one of those people, along with Pastor E.A. Deckard. It's kind of interesting because here you have a Muslim and a Christian who collaboratively work together on a consistent basis to make a difference in our communities. And so that's what the purpose of the Black Male Summit is. And so they're going to be doing that event today at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And I'm excited to be a part of it every year. And so, yeah, that's one of the stories that we always highlight because, we want to highlight the people that are doing the work in the community and not just the people who complain about what's not being done.
This is the Smarten Up Black Male Summit, and it's on Malcolm X's birthday tomorrow, y'all, May 19th. There was, in the article, you all talk about 8-year-old Tristan Hutchins, who died from gunshot wounds suffered in a March drive-by in southeast Houston. And this is part of the violence we see that our kids live with every day. Then there was the case of Danny Ray Thomas in Houston, right? I refresh my memory about that case. He was killed by the police?
Well, yeah, so he was killed by a sheriff deputy. Interestingly enough, it was an African-American law enforcement official. He had a mental illness issue,
yeah.
and he what had happened was someone had called the police because he was walking around erratically, hitting on people's cars, and he had his pants down around his ankles. He was definitely mentally challenged,
Oh.
and rightfully so. I mean, he was dealing with a lot of different things. His two children had just been killed by the baby's mother. She drowned them
Jesus.
and killed them,
Mm.
and so he was dealing with a lot of different things, and so as often is the case when law enforcement officials get called for people that are mentally challenged, particularly African Americans, they don't send out people that know how to deal with the mentally challenged. So this particular officer, who had just been on the force for a little over a year, come on the scene, and instead of trying to defuse the situation, bring out his taser to try to defuse the situation, he pulled out his gun and tell the guy, hey, stop coming towards me. The guy comes towards him, and he just fatally shoots him with one shot. And all of this is recorded on camera. So Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, who is the newly elected Democratic sheriff for Harris County, fires this gentleman immediately. And so now there's an internal investigation to review everything that has gone on with the shooting death of Danny Ray Thomas.
When did this happen?
And
what year was this?
This happened. Yeah, this was this year.
This year, okay, okay.
Yeah, a few months ago, and of course now you have Attorney Ben Crump, who is representing the family as far as the lawsuit that has been filed against Harris County because of this shooting.
All right. So, folks, this is just you wouldn't know about this if you weren't reading the black press. Jeffrey Boney, the editor of the Houston Forward Times. Why is it important, in your own words, brother Jeffrey, that people read and support the black press?
I mean, we're going to share stories and information that is rarely communicated to. I mean, we have a loyal readership of, like I said, for over 58 years, we've been sharing information to the black community, and it goes back to even the start of the black press with the Freedom's Journal, when it was communicated that for too long someone else has told our stories. Now we have to share our own story. We have to communicate our own message to the community, and so that's what the Forward Times and the black press, who this year celebrates 192 years of sharing that information to the community. We have to put out the information. I mean, all the time we hear stories of the negative, what's going wrong with the black community. But there's stories that are out there that are positive, and there are things that need to be highlighted. There are things that need to be communicated that you're not going to see in the mainstream media. And if it is put in the mainstream media or on the 5, 6, or 10 o'clock news, it's going to be skewed in a particular way that makes black people look wrong, look evil, look negative. And so we need the black press, the independent voice of the black press, to share our stories and our information. Just like, for instance, if there was ever a time that black people needed to fully understand the power of the black press, it's right now, and our need to put an emphasis on the upcoming November 2018 election.
Right.
This is by far one of the most important election cycles in the history of the United States. More importantly, it's one that we cannot, as an African-American community, afford to ignore. And so that's why the power of the black press is important, to talk about why we need to get out and communicate. Matter of fact, one of the articles that, because I write nationally on a weekly basis for the National Newspaper Publishers Association.
Yeah, brother,
trade organization.
I'm looking at your provocative headline. You wrote this: ungrateful, non-vote Negroes.
Yeah.
Ignore. Now, you talk that way so people understand where you're coming from sometime. That lets you know he mad. I am too. You ungrateful, non-vote Negroes. Ignore bloody war for black voting rights. Take it away, Jeffrey. You just wrote this.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it because, first of all, we hear, and I know you've heard it often, people use the phrases, I'm just one vote, or those white folks gonna do what they gonna do.
Yeah, and I don't have time. Well, I got to go to
Yeah, I don't
work,
have time.
and I got to go
vote,
get something to eat at Waffle House.
right, or my vote won't matter. Whatever the case may be, we all always hear these things, and there's so many excuses that we use as African Americans, many of us anyway. I mean, for those that don't vote, to not exercise our right to vote. And this is a right that's been fought for by so many folks in this country, both black and white, that has cost us so much, even our very lives. And so obtaining the right to vote has been a major part of the civil rights history of African Americans in this country. However, many black folks have turned a blind eye to the struggle that it took to attain the right to vote. So, yeah, I wrote Ungrateful Negroes because, or non-voting Negroes, because, if you really truly understand what it took to get the right to vote, obtain the right to vote, we would understand, why we need to be grateful for this opportunity. So, we could eat where we want to eat now, or we can live where we want to live, allegedly now. But as we start to see, as the white lady who called the cops on the folks that were just trying to barbecue
Becky.
Barbecue Becky in the neighborhood that they lived for 40 years, and through gentrification, now she feels like she can just call the police on them and sit there for 2 hours to challenge them from being able to just live their life and do what they want to do.
She gonna oversee the police. She can't just call the police. Becky gonna oversee the police too.
She gonna oversee the police, and then you got the Starbucks situation with the two gentlemen and the young lady who was sleeping in the Commons room and at Yale, and just all these situations, and you just see that as far as we think we've come as a people, we still have a long way to go. But, as we saw in Ferguson, Missouri, after the shooting death of Mike Brown, there was an African American or African Americans that were elected to city council. But prior to that, in a city that was a majority African American community, you had individuals that were not serving on city council.
Right.
And the reason that they weren't serving on city council is because African Americans were not voting.
Yeah.
They were not coming out. And it took the shooting death of Mike Brown to understand that if you don't have people on city council, then you can't elect you cannot select the person that serves as your police chief or your fire chief or your city manager or whatever, whoever makes the decisions for your city. But yet,
that's right.
You constantly you don't show up to the polls. And that's why I wrote a piece in Black Press USA, as well as the Forward Times, called "The Big Payback." It's time to take over the polls.
Yeah.
And if there was ever a time for us to get out and vote, not just vote just for the sake of voting.
That's right.
But voting not just because we want to get rid of Trump, or I don't even like to say his name, to get rid of number 45. Then we turn around and don't vote for the local, county, and state elected offices, which these are the people that impact your lives on a daily basis. The judges who can challenge your child support situation, or your situation where you were stopped because you didn't have insurance. All these people impact your daily lives, and African Americans are impacted the most. So yeah, there are a lot of ungrateful Negroes out here that don't vote because they don't either A, understand the importance of it, or B, they feel like we've come so far and we don't need to vote anymore because our vote doesn't matter. And I'm here to tell everyone that it does. That's why I'm excited that the Black Press, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Ben Chavis and us are focusing on registering 5 million new black voters.
And that's what we got to do. 866-99-SERIOUS, 866-997-47. That's what the Black Press is doing. That's what Houston Forward Times is helping to do. Jeffrey Boney, associate editor of the Houston Forward Times. So what's going on with the Western Conference Finals, man? Y'all gonna lose to Golden State or what? What's gonna happen?
Well, come on, man. We're the Houston Rockets, baby. You already know. You saw what just happened
Yeah, man. I was surprised. Y'all balling.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised, man. We balled out in the regular season. We lost the first game. I mean, it was the first game, and just because you lose, I mean, it's a 7-game series. So, the good thing about basketball is that you have a 7-game series, and so you can lose one game, but you can win the next 4. And so, if the last game was any indication, if we stay consistent of what we can do, and our bench shows up like PJ Tucker ended up doing, and Eric Gordon, then hell, man, we're gonna end up winning in 5, maybe 5 or 6.
All right.
But we got to stay consistent. We got to do our thing, man. Rockets, baby.
Jeffrey Boney, folks of the Houston Forward Times, the Black Press, blackpressusa.com. The website for the Houston Forward Times is forwardtimes.com. And, brother, that's going to be a great day tomorrow with the Smarten Up Summit, the Black Male Summit. Wish I could be there, but I know it'll be great and very, very critical to have for the people in Houston. My brother, give your cousin, Judon Boney, my regards, okay?
I surely will, man. I thank you so much for having me on the show this morning.
All right, brother, and stay up. We'll be together, all right?
All right.
All right. Take care now. 866-99-SIRIUS. Let me do this quickly. Ladies, let me get Gina, and then we'll go to our next guest and close out the week. Gina's in North Carolina. Gina, God bless you. Good morning. Get woke. Get ready for impeachment. Go right ahead.
Good day, Mark. It's been such a long time since I heard you on air. I just got a car, so I have the new, the Sirius, and I'm glad to hear your voice. And I let my son listen to you every morning, taking him to school.
Thank you. How old is your son?
He's 14.
All right.
Yeah, he was listening to you when you was on the power.
Yes, ma'am.
And we appreciate you.
Thank you.
I wasn't calling in to talk about voting because I just decided,
Sure. Whatever. You've been on hold for a minute, so you were talking about Shakisha Clemens. You wanted to comment on that?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to know the game plan that's in place for us to, just to start aggregating our resources and not feeling like we have to be a part of some system that don't appreciate us. We pay our taxes, and our taxes go to police officers who kill us, brutalize us. They go to poor education schools that poorly educate us. They go to these cities where these companies like CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, and these Alex. They take our money that we put into the state legislature, and they go in and write laws and bylaws and stuff against us to totally keep us out of the system. So I'm just trying to figure out where's the game plan that we're going to start putting our own pools and making our own way like we used to do back in the day.
Well, as I've always said, my position is, first of all, this first thing I'm going to say is not my position. It is a fact that police are governed locally. At most on a state level, but 9 times out of 10 in major jurisdictions governed by local municipalities. We must attack it that way. Demand that our city elected officials, city council people and all of that, some of whom are black, some of whom are even women and other minorities, say, let me tell you something, it's a whole lot easier to unseat a member of the city council than it is the president. People don't get that. Because people focus on that one thing. They don't think down ballot. Right. You can get rid of a city council member like that. Tell those sons of a gun and those daughters of a gun that if you don't give us, in this locale right here, civilian oversight of the police department, gotta go. We need civilian oversight. That is community boards, civilian boards, not just to review cases of civilian misconduct against civilians, but oversight. That means selecting the chief, civilian search committees, all of that. Reviewing the general orders, reviewing policy. That's what we need. But see, what it takes is every jurisdiction is coming together. It's a local struggle. People waiting on Martin Luther King to rise from the grave and fall out of the sky and do it on a national level. That's not going to happen because it's local. Dr. King didn't lead a national bus boycott. Y'all, he led the Montgomery bus boycott, and it had a ripple effect across the nation. So that's what we got to do. Gina, I'm sorry I got to run. Glad you're back with us. Calls anytime. Love to your son. How's he doing in school?
He's getting there.
Well, tell him to keep his head up. Keep working hard, okay?
Yeah, I'm on it. Thank you so
All right,
much.
bless you.
Have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Sirius XM Progress, Resistance Radio. Get woke, get ready for impeachment. We'll be right back after these messages. This is MI.